Julie.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to our summit recap call. And I want to start off by just letting everybody know that events with a company are just a major thing that you should try to do as often as you can. And that includes big events like Summit and events like Super Saturdays, because it's not only something that you want to go do and have some fun. You learn so much about yourself and so much about the world there. So it isn't just going and having a party. In fact, very seldom do we go and have a party there. So it was a pleasure to be there with Heidi. And there's Lisa. It was a pleasure to be there with Heidi and Melissa and Marianne and all of you guys. So and we really missed Julie this year. So what I want to do is I'm going to start with Jennifer Long to talk about her experience. Everybody is going to talk a little bit, everybody that was there is going to talk a little bit about their experience at Summit. And I have 3 coaches that I talked to about speaking about it. And we have Jennifer and Melissa and Heidi are going to talk about it. And I know Marianne and Jennifer, this was your first Summit. So Jen, do you want to tell us a couple of important takeaways you got?
Sure. Shannon, before we jump in on that, and for those who are watching the recording, the second part of this video this call is going to be about why it's important for you to attend Summit next year. So make sure that if you are kind of skimming through this video that you do capture some of the information at the end as well.
For sure. Don't miss that, because you do want to go next year. And I know Ellen here is going to go next year for sure. So we're on it. All right, Jen, I'm going to give you 3 things to talk about. A couple of takeaways that you got from the workshops that we attended, your most inspirational moment from the whole summit, and why are you going to go back next year? Mm-hmm. So go for it.
Okay.
As a first time goer.
All right, so the first one was about the workshops, right?
Yes.
That's what you just said.
Yes,
that I need to talk about the workshops. Okay. So one of the main things about the workshops, so, most of the people that spoke are people that do Beachbody full-time. And initially I was like, okay, this isn't something I can do full-time right now. I have a full-time job. I have 4 kids. Like, I got stuff going on. But the daily planner that they set up, they had a slide that had like their daily plan, and they really tried hard to stick to that. Like 7 to 8:30, I'm doing Beachbody stuff. 8:30 to 10:30, I'm with my kids. No phone, no computer, and just with my kids. Like, it was very structured like that. My schedule would look very different than that, but just the fact that you can work around all that, and you can make it happen. And that was refreshing to me. It wasn't like, okay, you have to have 12 hours in the day to dedicate to this. It seemed much more doable once I saw that. And then the other thing was just kind of from the workshops, hearing people's stories, like where they started and how they got to where they were. They started like us, somebody introduced them to Beachbody, and they just kind of took off with it, and it happened for them. And so it sort of encouraged me that, I'm an Emerald coach right now, and I could be a Diamond coach by the end of the year, maybe. And I could go on from there to be, a 1-star Diamond coach by the end of next year, maybe Summit next year. I don't know. But it seemed so much more doable at that point when they broke it down. So that was really, really helpful. Probably one of the best moments I had when we were at the Classic and saw Sagi. There was this little girl that was there, and he bent down, as you can imagine how hard it is for him to do, because we weren't getting up. So, but he was up on the stage, and her mom was holding her down below. And he just put his hands out and kind of grabbed her by the shoulders and just kind of picked her up, in a kind of an awkward way. But then they were going to take a picture, and he like fixed her hair, and he gave her a hug, and he was like, she obviously doesn't know who he is, but just he was just so kind with her. And we know he's a great person, and but to see that in person was like, wow, these are real people. That was amazing to me. Obviously seeing Horton and seeing Shanti and all of that was fabulous, but just the sheer number of people that were there as well. Like when we would go to those big general sessions, it was amazing to me, the energy, and like everybody's there for the same reason, and you just instantly feel like, okay. And then the third time was, of course, when we went out to do the super workout, and Bridget and I were standing out there. And again, it's just the level of energy that's out there at 6 a.m. It was, yeah, that was amazing.
So tell us, what's their main reason that you want to go back?
Yeah, so the main reason I want to go back is I know I missed some things. You know, I mean, I feel like every time I'm going to go, I'm going to learn something new, or I'm going to, you know, maybe focus on a different workshop or something like that, you know. And I want to take my coaches with me. I mean, I want to now be that person that can say, here's what to get from this, or here's what you can learn, or, you know, come check this cool thing out, particularly because it's going to be in the same place now the second year that when I go back.
Right.
Because we'll know a little bit about Indianapolis that we didn't know before. So and meeting people, like meeting Melissa. So Melissa and I have FaceTime, and we did a team cup team together, and then like there she was. You know, it was great to meet people that I had only seen on Facebook and actually connect with them in that way. So, and then of course the car ride there and back was fabulous. So
it was, wasn't it? It was,
yeah, that was fun. That was fun. So I don't know. I just think it's a different type of connection than you have over social media. It just is, it feels very different, and you're right there with people and experiencing the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to go back and take some coaches with me. Definitely.
Awesome. Thank you, Jen. Does anybody have anything they want to ask Jennifer? Because I want to be respectful of everyone's time, of course, because I know it's an hour later in the East. But if you don't have any questions, Jen, thanks. It was awesome. Thank you. Excellent. I want to move forward and let's talk to Heidi. Heidi's going to talk a little bit.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. So this was actually my 4th summit that I've attended. My first one was Julie, your first one, yes. And then it's been wonderful because Julie and I went the first time and got to experience our first summer together. And then after that, I had Lisa go with me, and it was her first time. So, and then the second time we then brought Abby along, so we had another first time. And this last one was also, I had a PS coach in my downline, Jennifer, who it was her first time going to Summit. So it's been really, that's kind of coming from, you know, from an upline coach to be able to see the excitement and see it through the fresh eyes of the coaches that you're bringing, like Jennifer, like you were saying, to bring your coaches next time along with you. It can, you know, it continuously keeps the excitement and keeps it all fresh, and to be able to connect in and bonding too. I think that's another thing, because the community that we set up, and we have Facebook, and you have team pages, and that's, you know, it's a lot of business that we do when we're working through team pages. It's very much business, but when you get to experience this, it also has a social component to it. So it becomes, you know, you're almost the glue that starts to bind a team together, that I found that is, you know, just, it makes the bonds even a little bit stronger, because you're experiencing something together that, you know, this is, some of you may have your family, like Mike, you know, or you may have partners or spouses that go, but for the most part, I think a lot of us coaches, we go by ourselves, and the team Beachbody, our coaches, our team, become our family. So we're spending time, you know, with our like-minded people that we, you know, everybody's thinking and has the same goals. So it's very, we're all on the same page, which kind of makes it really cool.
Yeah.
So you got another question, Shannon, or?
No, I love that, Heidi. That was just so fantastic. It is so true, you know, that we get closer as we spend real time together instead of social media time together. So it's very true. You guys, everybody's muted. So if you have something that you want to ask Heidi, or something that you want to say, just unmute yourself, just so there's no real background noise going on when someone's talking. But
hey, Heidi,
yeah,
what what do you think was better about this fourth summit versus the first one? I mean, clearly there's new things you learn, and maybe you're paying attention to different things and that kind of thing. But what brings you back 4 times aside from the things that you talked about, obviously, but is there one particular thing that you're like, wow, this time it was really different than the first time I went? Maybe it's location, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. This time in particular, the location was amazing, absolutely amazing, because of the convenience of the hotel to the convention center to the stadium that we were at, everything being in walking distance. The last few that we have done, they have had to actually shuttle us from hotels to stadiums. Last year we were in New Orleans, and they had to actually bus us in like huge buses to get us over to the Superdome. So without having that piece of it, the convenience and just the logistics of this place was amazing. So, but just to go to any summit, it is the learning, it's the energy, it's the shopping, the core. It really is, right, Lisa? Core, yes. And I think Beachbody as a company too, continuously, we're growing and changing. So every year there's something new that's coming out. There's something. Last year when we were at Summit, they were announcing our new back office and the new website that launched. So every year you're there when the news is hitting the fan. You're the first to know. You're the front line being at the Summit, which is really cool, because then you're not kind of waiting for it to come down, and you're getting it firsthand. So it's just, yeah, I think I will continuously go.
Yes. And,
yeah.
And you're so right, because we have so many things coming out now. This year, this is going to explode. It's crazy. But yeah, thank you, Heidi. It was so much fun hanging out with you guys too. and making sure Jennifer Ledoux had us go in the right direction.
Well, that's what I was just thinking. If she doesn't come next year, I'm in a world of trouble, because the one thing we all need to know, if you are flying in, that we flew in at 10 o'clock. We can't, Marriott doesn't have shuttles, Julie. We had to Uber it.
That's 10 o'clock at night, you guys.
Yes. Well, no, there's no shuttles from Marriott at all. Doesn't matter when. So I'll need to get the Uber app, so that because I would have still been sitting at the airport had it not from Jennifer getting me there. So there's a few things that we'll all take.
How far is the airport from?
It was maybe half hour, 20 minutes.
Oh, good, because Uber doesn't travel too long. I mean, too far.
Yeah, I think about 20 minutes.
Awesome. Does anyone have anything else for Heidi? That was awesome, Heidi. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to move to Melissa. Now, for those of you that don't know, Melissa Canella made a promise to herself and said she was going to compete in the Beachbody Classic this summit. And guess what? She did, and she was 36th place. And that's pretty darn good out of what, over 200?
250.
250, yeah. So
237 showed.
we had a blast, and we got this close to Sagi, and it was quite fun. Melissa, you talk about that kind of thing, and why you were motivated to do that. Why was that important to you?
It wasn't just because I had turned 40. It was more so of really taking control of my health and identifying things that were really pulling me back on my health. There were definitely things I would say I was healthy about, but then there would be those 2 lingering habits that I was like, well, that's not making me happy. So I somehow flipped a switch. There was a post that Sagi put out there before I officially committed to this, and it was all about manning yourself and believing in yourself and knowing that the past is the past. this is now, and you can help yourself in the future. And throughout the training for the Classic, he was there for all of us, which was amazing. There's a support group for people who are specifically in the Classic, and he would solicitate and do his little, okay, well, Melissa, you need to do this, and whoever else was posting, you need to do that. And then it was a surprise to all of us because, to my knowledge, this didn't happen before this year. He came backstage and shook all of our hands.
Woo.
He refused to do pictures, but he shook all of our hands and said, I am happy you're here. Congratulations. You're better than a lot of people. And he might be awkward, but he is just an amazing man. He's a sweetheart, just like what Jennifer had said. But the thing that I've learned about doing the Classic is everybody who goes up on stage started somewhere. Some people probably didn't have a lot to lose. And in fact, maybe they had eating disorders where they were so thin they needed to gain weight and become healthy. So we all came from different backgrounds. And that's just like us in our team. We all come from our individual backgrounds. We have different things that we battle with, that we literally have to deal with every day to get through that workout and to get through the nutrition. So all of us coming together for this thing, some people are much more advanced, have different outtakes of what needs to get done to be accomplished. And then other people like me are more genuine to the product, living, breathing, and focusing on the Shakeology, the food plan, the workout plan, the accountability, and the group. That is the core of Beachbody. And you know, that's what kept me going. I had this amazing support group. I met a whole bunch of people that were absolutely amazing, and I thought it was really funny that my roommates and I had the same birthday. So
I was just going to say something about that. Melissa didn't know who she was going to room with, and she ended up rooming with Roxanne Griesel, one of my coaches. But then the other two girls that were in their room were two girls competing in Classic, and they didn't even know that until they got in that room together. And they all have the same day birthday, which is just
actually one just was in the Classic with me. The other one was
she wasn't. Okay.
That's okay. She was part of her team. But you know, it is like Heidi said, it is about the camaraderie and just being together with people who are in the same like-mindedness. I told Julie earlier, this year's summit was so different from my first and second year. My first year was like, oh my gosh, this is new, this is crazy, I missed everything, I need to go back next year. And then I went back last year and I had roommates that sucked the wind out of me. So it was not what I expected. Did I like them? Of course, I knew them for quite a long time, but their expectations of everything was very different than what I wanted, and I was pulled.
Yeah.
But this year was it. Like everything came to a head, and everything just made sense about being together, sharing the experience, going to the workshops. I learned this year that I did the same workshop that I was supposed to last year. I didn't attend half of it because of the roommate experience and trying to rebuild those friendships. But it was more so of like just being present, being in the moment, soaking it all in and learning. Team is what makes Beachbody, you know, being together. So
love that, Melissa. You know what? And I think those of us that came to the Classic will, we were so proud of you and so proud of everything that you did. And I loved the fact that there were women and men of all ages, all sizes. There were some women there that had to be 200 pounds or more, and they got their bikini on and they went out there and they showed what results they had got. And it was just heartwarming, wasn't it? It was so good. And we're so proud of you. So yay you. And I know you're coming back next year for that.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. So I think Amber wants to do it. Amber Fields wants to do it. So it'll be nice to have a couple of coaches getting in there on the Classic. Does anybody have anything for Melissa before I'm going to turn it over to Julie here in just a sec. No questions? All right, Melissa, thank you. And Jen, thank you so much. Heidi, thank you so much. You guys rock. Thank you, thank you. I'm going to turn this over to Julie Miller, who's going to take us why we need to go next year.
Shannon, didn't you say there's someone on the call tonight who experienced it for the first time?
Yeah, that was Jennifer.
Oh, it was Jennifer. Okay.
Jennifer and Marianne too. Marianne, you experienced it for the first time too, didn't you?
Marianne, share one thing that you thought about it. Share something.
Unmute yourself, Marianne.
Come on.
I'll get you. Hang on. I'll find you here. There you go.
I think I did.
Okay.
Did I do it? Oh my God, I don't know if I can pick one thing. It was completely overwhelming in a good way. I can't thank you guys enough for letting me be a part of your group. That was awesome. Gosh, my takeaway was it's all real. Like you sit here and you watch all the Instagram posts, all the Facebook posts, and you think this can't be real. And you go there and it was real. Everybody was so nice, so genuine. I got so much information. I'm still going through my notes trying to pick one thing a day to implement because it was overwhelming, but in such a good way. I'm not even sure I can pick my one favorite thing. Everything was my favorite thing. Probably the most exciting thing for me, I guess, was the very first night when they came out and said they were going to talk about a coach's story, and they talked a little bit about it, and it was a guy from New Hampshire that I didn't even know was a coach. And now I saw him in a class, went up and introduced myself. Now we're Facebook friends. And
was that Craig?
Like local that is doing. Yeah. So that was kind of cool. Trying to think just so much. Probably the Sean T Club thing that's coming on. I'm pretty excited about that. He was my first Beachbody experience with Insanity. So I'm excited.
Awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Marianne.
Yeah. Thank you, Marianne. That was fun.
Okay, so what I'd like to kind of talk about is the importance of going to Summit. And this was the first year I missed. Actually, I've been a coach for 6 years, so I really missed the first 3 years of being a coach. Never have gone, and that's just financially. The kids going to college just wasn't in the works. So anyway, I was really sad to miss it this year, but I'm kind of glad I did, because I've experienced going to Summit and then not going to Summit. And I was just so proud of my team going, you guys going, staying committed to your business and understanding that there's what we do every day. There's something bigger out there that the company has to offer us, and that is Summit. That every year they do get better. Every year they always ask for feedback. I'm so bummed I missed the organization that was done this year, because I was a hot mess waiting for those buses last year, and I was like, I'm never going to Summit again. So Beachbody is just amazing how they listen to us, and every year they do get better and better. But let me take this from a business perspective, because it sounds like everyone's going to be going here to Summit next year. So what's kind of cool about going to Summit is we always share with people that, people are on my team from all over the United States and Canada and Alaska. But when you're actually at Summit and you're with that person from Alaska, or you're with that person from a different state, you're taking selfies, you're taking pictures. Those are all photo opportunities for you now to go home and build your business with. So all those photos. So a lot of times it's so funny, because my team, when I go to a Summit, they're like rolling the eyes, and I'm like, another team photo or this thing, because that's the only time we're together, like once a year. And you want the variety of photos that you can get with your team and with coaches that you network with, because now you can go back and show the world that this is a real business, and there is a family aside from this business that just really is just amazing. And through those pictures, you show your energy, your relationships, and it's just it just brands you differently, if that makes sense. So another thing too is your coaches. There's this thing about all the coaches who go to Summit. you usually see now in your business like this little roller coaster high in revenue for everyone, because you're just so fired up, you feel so confident, and you should, you know, because you were just through this experience, and you now have all this information, and as Mary Ann just said, taking note and trying to apply one thing a day instead of trying to apply the whole notebook and not doing anything, you start to see success, because it's like a snowball effect. And if we learned anything in this kind of business is, if your business is being successful and it's a snowball effect, don't stop rolling that snowball, because it's gonna you know, dwindle down soon, and you want to capitalize and build your business and piggyback off that as long as possible. So as a business perspective, as a team, we all benefit when we go to Summit, because we come back so fired up. It's just like we have this can-do attitude, and we just want to take on the world, which is great. Also, the trainings, everything that you saw at Summit, remember that we're now able to go either now already or soon into our Coach Online office to view all those trainings. So if you do have coaches who didn't make it, encourage them to go to the Coach Online office, let them know where it is so that they can see it. Or if you had any favorite trainings, and like you had said, Jennifer, that you feel like you missed something, you know, you can go back and actually see all those trainings that maybe you missed, you know, so that you can feel more complete with the knowledge base and take that to a next level for implementing throughout your year. But next year, you guys, is the 20th anniversary for Team Beachbody. If there's any year to go to for the first time, or if there's any year not to miss, it's going to be next year, because you know Beachbody is even going to go bigger next year for all the coaches, because it is an anniversary year. So that alone is so important for people really to start to budget. Now let's talk about budgeting. So right now, we still have a couple days for the $130 ticket, right? Non-transferable. I like it that it's $130 is the cheapest, but it's non-transferable, because that's making you commit. All right, you paid this. You're gonna work this year. It's an entire year before we go to make this happen. So you pay the $130. Now you book a room, and yes, everyone who booked a room, do you have to pay a down payment if you booked a room on the Thursday? Even if it's on the Thursday, one of the days. See, I booked the room on a Wednesday and had to put a down payment for one day.
Yeah, me too.
I didn't know that's because I booked on a Wednesday. If you booked on a Thursday, were you asked to pay a down payment too? Anybody?
Did anybody book on a Thursday? Unmute. Yeah, unmute, Mary Ann.
I did last year and stayed at the Marriott. I went Thursday, and I had to put a deposit down. So I assume it'd be the same this year.
Okay. Okay, so you did. So as far as that goes, if you know ahead of time what coach is going to stay with you, you know, to afford that down payment, work it out to split it right now so that you can book that room and have that prime spot. Now, here's what you do. The next expenses is going to be your plane ticket and then shopping at the core. Now, aside from Heidi, because Heidi actually builds her business around her yoga studio, and she uses a lot of the discount pricing of the core to, you know, as incentives and stuff. You may find that every time you go to the core every year thereafter, you're not buying as much, so you don't need as much. For instance, my first year I spent almost $500 at the core, but by my second year I spent maybe $150. You know, so it wasn't, you know, it's like, yeah. So, so you need your plane ticket, and you need at least think about the core. So you want to do the math, you guys. Now, if we have 12 months before our summit, then what you need to do is say how much money you need to put aside from now until then. Every month I put aside $25 toward my summit. Now, this past year, there was just no way I could do it because my kids did the whole thing with college, with studying abroad, that threw us for a loop, so whatever. But that's how I afforded my last 3 years. I budget every single month, and I put money aside so that now when it's time to pay your plane ticket and leave that day, you have the majority of your money. You don't need as much. So that's just a tip from me to you. And it's really committing yourself to go and not let life get in the way or anything fall short that you're not able to attend. So I don't know if anyone has anything to add on their tips.
I think that was perfect. I know that you do want to account for food too, because restaurant food can be kind of expensive if you eat out. We drove, and I know that we're going to drive again because it's 5.5 hours. Kat and Ellen and Jen, we can all ride together if we have, we took 6 people in the van, and I drove all the way there, and it was like an easy drive. So if I don't know, you guys all live farther away, but it was a good drive, nice drive. So,
well, even if you have to fly plane, if you look early, you can start looking now for your plane tickets and just buy it. That's another way of making sure you show up and you'll get it cheaper. My son and his girlfriend just got a plane ticket, got a plane ticket months ago to Puerto Rico for $250 each, round trip, one way, Delta. And that's because they looked and they searched and they looked so far in advance. So if you really want to do this and not let money get in the way, and make sure that you're there for the 20th anniversary of Team Beachbody with your coaches, or maybe for the first time, make it happen. This is going to be the year you don't want to miss. You really don't want to miss it.
I could not agree more. Yeah, it's going to be, I can't wait to see what they have in store for us. Holly, that baby's so cute.
Can I just give a shout out to our Miss Holly, like our top 500 customer PB?
Thank you.
And she had a baby while she achieved that.
Well, not like while I achieved that. Well, I did use Hydrate during labor and delivery. That was really helpful. We'll post on that soon. I did. If you don't mind me just sharing a little tip to save money. Okay, honey, please move. I'm talking with my team. So last summer I did a vegan experiment, and so I was really scared that there wouldn't be any food in New Orleans that was vegan, which turned out to be the case. And so my coach Leah and I, okay, please move. We packed a lot of food in our suitcases in advance. Like we just brought really simple things like oats, and obviously we brought Shakeology, and we just like brought easy, non-perishable foods. We brought this huge bunch of bananas in our suitcase. Which, it probably would have been cheaper to buy bananas in New Orleans, but we just wanted to be prepared. And that really helped because we didn't go out to breakfast or anything like that.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Packing your own food is good.
Bringing Shakeology, Holly, that's exactly what we do, because I don't want to spend money at the Shakeology bars. It's just ridiculous to me. Spend that money when
Totally, and I can make it better than the Shakeology bar. Me
too.
All right, I am muting my screen with these crazy people.
Thanks for joining us, Holly. That's so cute. Anything else? I know we're getting late. Anything else anybody wants to add? Tips?
Go ahead, Jen.
I didn't mean to cut you off. One of the other things that we did, the hotel that we chose had a continental breakfast, and so that helped a ton. And we just made sure there was a refrigerator. So last year, my husband teaches Taekwondo, and so we go to that tournament typically in the summer as well. And we stayed in a hotel that no restaurant, no breakfast, no refrigerator. So like we ate food and just had to throw it away because we couldn't keep it if we didn't finish it. So, just looking for things like that as well, just to get the most bang for your buck, for sure. And often those breakfasts have things you can eat. There's eggs and there's fruit and there's, it isn't all just like waffles and, stuff that won't hold you for a while either. So I think between the drive there, and we saved so much money driving together, and got to know each other so much better. And then just being careful where you book, where you stay and that kind of thing. And I think that all made a huge difference for Bridget and I when we figured out how we were going to get there and how much money we were going to spend. I, like Julie, did the same thing this year. I'm going to spend $100 at the core, and that is false.
I can't even tell myself that because they had a million new cute styles, Julie. It was crazy. It was stupid.
And Beachbody is understanding that we don't need the Beachbody names of the programs because that just makes people go out and buy it. They understand that concept.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they're now just have a small name of the program, or Beachbody, and have a nice motivational saying on the front now with most of their stuff.
I love that.
You guys, let me just say one thing before we close, and I don't forget. Just make sure now, those who did go to Summit, as you continue to share your photos, or maybe you want to reshare them because you're thinking that what I'm suggesting is something you want to do, remember to not just share the photo as to the name of the class you took or the thing that you did. Remember to share the benefit and the feeling of what you experienced, because that's going to speak bigger to people who are not happy at their job, you know, feel like that going to work is not having another family. They don't smile, they're not having fun, you know what I mean? So make sure you bring out the emotions and what your feelings were there with the photos that you share versus the name of things that particular that you're sharing in the photo, if that makes sense.
Oh, that's great. Heidi, did you have something?
Yeah, I was just going to close with what Lisa and Abby and I did last year to save money. Since we didn't have a refrigerator, we went out and got one of our styrofoam coolers.
Ah,
Yeah, so we packed it with all the ice that came, because they were only like $1.39 at the corner store down in New Orleans. And then we could pack it with ice so that we didn't have to go out any place to get beer. We could just get our 6-pack and sit in the hotel room. You drank a lot cheaper there. No, they're great. Just, yes, we made sure we had healthy snacks too, and water. And, but yeah, make sure that you get the refrigerator. Right, Lisa? Classic.
yeah. Oh, that's great. Oh my gosh, you guys, thank you all for joining Julie and me tonight. Just because we want to project the feelings that we all have about Coach Summit and why. And it's only once a year, but once you go, it lasts. It stays with you, and then school starts, and then everybody gets busy with school and the holidays and all that. But then all you have to do is go back and look at that picture, that super workout. Seriously, you can get that feeling back. And like Julie said, it's snowballs don't stop the momentum. Because if you just say, oh gosh, I'm just getting tired of doing invites every day, or I'm getting tired of messaging people or talking to people, what happens? Nothing. So that's just my 2 cents.
All right, guys. Well, Shannon will do the recording, and then she'll post it for us. Shannon, I did a screenshot, so I'll give it to you.
Oh, good. All right. Yeah, I was going to say that.
I got us all smiling.
Good. All right, love you guys. Night. Good night, everybody.
Bye, Holly. Bye, you guys.
Bye.
Bye.